Hello everybody. A couple of days ago, we welcomed one of the best shows of our time, Peaky Blinders, with its brand new season. For the most part, whatever the BBC produces reaches the all-time favorite status for us immediately, since the channel comes up with projects that are not only blessed with high production quality, but also various talented actors participating in a well-written scenario. Even though our expectations are often very high when it comes to a BBC project, we have to admit that since Peaky Blinders premiered back in 2013, our standards rose even higher, and from now on, we don't think any other BBC project can top this brilliant series. Unfortunately, though, we're very near the ending of this epic saga, as there are only 5 episodes left to reach the grand finale. Still, as we always say when it comes to saying goodbye to beloved shows, it's better to enjoy the ride rather than get upset over an inevitable ending. Thankfully, Season 6 of Peaky Blinders started very strong right after the point we left back in the Season 5 finale, and we cannot wait to discuss all the details with you all. As you remember, back in the Season 5 season finale, we watched Tommy struggling to face his sorrow and wandering around the fog with a weapon in his hand. It was clear that he was inventing to take his own life, but we weren't sure if he would pull the trigger or not. Unfortunately, we saw that he truly did pull the trigger in this premiering episode. It was difficult to watch since we have never seen Tommy Shelby suffering this much. Luckily though, Arthur had emptied all the guns, worrying that he might harm himself. Failing to kill himself due to the interference of his family, Tommy had to stand up once again and force himself to live. And yet, what comes next was perhaps the worst thing he ever had to endure in his entire life. He received a call from Ira, explaining the failures of the night before regarding the assassination attempt of the fascist leader Oswald Mosley. She told Tommy that he has always had support throughout his life from a single resource, and now they are cutting this resource since, from now on, we will be your only support. She also said that they are kind enough to provide them with the opportunity to bury the dead bodies of their loved ones. The message was very clear. When Tommy cut open the winding sheets, he already knew what to expect, but still, seeing her aunt being killed by Ira was more than he can handle. The family conducted a proper memorial for Aunt Polly, who was one of the most brilliant characters of the show for sure, and we shared the pain of the Shelbys to our core. Michael blamed Tommy for her mother's death and took an oath of revenge to face him one day, even if it takes years. Then, we had a time jump of 4 years. We found ourselves in Miquelon Island in 1933, which is under the control of the French at the time. Tommy was there, waiting for Michael and his colleagues to come to visit him to have a business meeting. When he was waiting at a bar, he had a small fight with the local men, who were extremely upset that the alcohol was now legal and thus the island, which was living off the illegal alcohol trade, will now suffer. When Tommy refused to drink, the local men assumed that he was mocking her suffering, while in reality Tommy truly stopped drinking after the death of Aunt Polly to become a better man. At that point, we realized that Tommy's aim was clear. He was wanting to get out of all these dirty businesses and start a new life with Lizzie and the kids on the West Coast. His business meeting with Michael and the others also didn't go smoothly, since his rejection of alcohol was too outrageous for the others, and they couldn't pass through that. In the meeting, Tommy offered them to make the trade of opium now that the alcohol is out of the picture, and he delivered a bag filled with opium to Michael. Then, he stitched him to the police so that he can be imprisoned in Boston. Michael, who is now a prisoner, called Gina and told her that she shouldn't allow his uncle to agree with Tommy on anything. Thus, when Tommy met with Gina, she was very clear that her uncle will have nothing to do with him. Tommy was prepared, though, and let her know that he is the reason why Michael is imprisoned. He said if her uncle refuses to cooperate with him, he would go to the Jews to make a deal since, with such a large number of opium, he can have anyone on board. Then Tommy visited Michael in the prison and told him that he will protect him there, but when he is released he should come back to England and work with him. When Michael claimed that Gina's uncle is there for him, and thus he doesn't need any protection from Tommy, Tommy told him that Gina and her uncle Jack are going to England as well. Besides, Tommy added, Uncle Jack is following the US President's requests when it comes to keeping Michael within the prison, rather than letting him go. The news shocked Michael, who was more than furious. While things were seemingly going well for Tommy, he received a phone call from Lizzie, who let him know that their daughter Ruby is ill. At first, it seemed like a regular illness, but then Lizzie said that Ruby was wandering some Romani words while she was suffering from the heat. When Tommy heard this, He immediately ordered Lizzie to find their Romani friends who would know what to do in such a circumstance, since he sensed that Ruby's illness was more serious than they initially assumed. So, Tommy decided to return to England to meet with her daughter and take care of the business as always. Did you like the Season 6 premiere of Peaky Blinders? Do you think the show will have the grand ending that we all hope for? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.